let's begin how to get bread with Facebook Messenger bots. So this is what we're gonna do with our Facebook Messenger bots. Why should you use Messenger? The best example I have is Max Novelty had zero Messenger. They were doing, when I started with Messenger with them, when they committed was at the end of June, and they just done 17,000 from email that month. Over the next 2 months, they did almost 13,000 from Messenger alone, from scratch. And by August, which is the second month where this is taking place, they were still up to 19,000 from email too. So we didn't see any drop off in email, and just saw an extra 13,000 across 2 months. So Messenger options that I've worked with brands: ManyChat, big yes; Octane AI, big yes; ShopMessage, a lot of thumbs downs. I was not a fan. I do not enjoy using it. ManyChat has the best thing, like to build out the campaigns and flows. They have the best interface. It's fucking great. The visuals are great. They have custom inputs that are really, really powerful. Like you can collect data from people responding, like emails is super easy. You can ask questions, collect all the answers into databases, use the databases later for setting up segments, flows, whatever you want to do. You can also use that for quizzes, which is good. So you can ask questions. If they get this right, you can set up another step that sends them to XYZ. I just did that for Shine Armor. There's a screenshot of it later in this. It's super complex. You'll see what I mean. It's also the most flexible I've found for creating, just having the most options for being able to do what you want to do. You can throw whatever you want in the chats. You can set up delays in between messages, pick how long the delays are. You can set up flows with all kinds of data and information. Overall, it's like the best for actually creating any of the Messenger campaigns or flows that you want to do. The big like glaring issue with them is they just don't have a direct integration with Shopify or Klaviyo, which is not great. This is what I created with Shine Armor in ManyChat. It took me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. But it kind of shows you can see what I mean by the visual aspect of ManyChat is just like light years ahead of anything else, because you can just like draw all these lines and put this here and like set everything up so it makes sense to you. This part here is the quiz I was talking about. So they start the quiz. If they get the first question right, they move on to the next stage. If they get it wrong, they get a different message that asks the next question still. So it's completely customized depending how they do. At the end, I use the custom inputs to tell them how many they got right. And if they got 5 out of 5 right, they get a discount. And if they didn't, they can start again. So Octane, it has the direct integration with Klaviyo and sorry, not Klaviyo direct. Well, it has Klaviyo integration in that you can like, when you collect an email, it automatically goes to Klaviyo, which is nice. And it's got direct integration with Shopify. You can track all sales, like that screenshot I showed you of almost $13,000. You can just see that directly, how many people are going in. It's got a really nice custom menu, which ManyChat also has, but Octane has quite a few great options to put in there. And it looks like the editor for it is really nice. You can use questions to collect custom data. It's kind of like ManyChat, but it's a little bit less flexible. Haven't figured out how to do those fancy quizzes yet. Also, you can't use delays. Either that or I'm just super, super terrible at finding it, because every time I look for delays, they just don't come up. Okay, so now we'll talk a bit about ShopMessage's good features. And moving on. This is what the template should look like. So we've been using this other template this whole time that like I made, but is like not good because I made it before I'd ever used like Messenger. So this is the new template I made today. And this is gonna be like the anatomy like breakdown. So if anyone's taking notes, like this is what you're gonna want to take notes on. You start with a question. And the reason we start with a question and Michelle, please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I understand it. So we start with a question because if you can't just send a promotional link to someone, you would have to call it a promotional broadcast. And there's different kinds of broadcasts you can send with Messenger. There's promotional and non-subscription, and then I think like paid something, which we never use. But promotional can only go to people who are super active, like they've recently opened some stuff. Subscription can just go to any subscriber. And we send subscription, and you open with a question, because once they answer the question, they've interacted with you, and you can send your link. So you open the question, you be like, ready to get some bread? You can throw the first name in there. And then they say you always want 2 options, maybe 3, maybe 4, depending on like if you're trying to get creative. But basically, you want 2 options because you want to give them a yes and a no, but you don't want the no to be like, no, okay, sorry to bother you, see you later. Start with the yes, you bet. Some more creative, like you bread. I don't know. And then you just hit them with these. So I put spaces in between. This is going to be like 1 message each. And this is, I'd say maybe like 1 less is typically what my usual messenger looks like. But, you know, you start with like some fun stuff, go into a discount, give them the code, and then you would send a link. And the CTA, I just kept the same for both. So get my bread. And that's, you can integrate it with Shopify, so you're using the same discount link you would use for like a sale. So like if I was going to send a bread sale out on like Friday night, I would send this out at the same time to the Messenger subscribers. And then for the no option, you know, I don't want to get some bread right now. You just be like, no worries. We're big fans of bread. So we wanted to do something special for you anyway. We'll just leave this here. Grab your discount code whenever you're ready, and you can save big on bread. So basically the idea there is you open with the key points is that you open with the question so that you can send them whatever you want to send them. You have a yes option and a no option. Both are leading to the same CTA. And then what isn't included in the template, but is also really important, is to include an unsubscribe option so that they have the option to opt out if they want to. Otherwise, you're probably breaking compliance. Any questions about that specific part of creating campaigns?
How do you adapt your copy for Messenger versus email?
You be more like concise with everything. Like instead of like a big run-in to like why you're giving them the discount, you just tell them why you're giving them the discount. Like maybe like one fun little line, like we're big fans of bread, that's why we're giving you a discount. Like it's, you know, I'm not going like we're big fans of bread. Bread Inc. has been like creating bread for so many years, and that's, you know, like really it's just like a lot of practice and a lot of reading other people's good messenger like messages to see what works for them, and also testing what works for you.
So when a client decides to go with Messenger, does every like email campaign you do with them turn into a Messenger thing, or do you have separate like?
I do Messenger once a week.
Once
So I usually do one, like, and I usually do some kind of sale every week. So I'll just run it with the sale.
Okay.
Flow Sidon. So let's talk about some flows. We usually set up, there's like a few basic ones we do, and it's very similar to email, spend and cart, welcome, post-purchase. There's browse abandon now. Octane just got the browse abandon. That's the other thing with Octane, and ShopMessage is worse for this, is like setting up flows. So setting up flows in ShopMessage, one of the reasons why they just suck is you have to follow their exact, like, you can only send like 2 abandoned carts or whatever, and you can only send like 1 welcome or whatever it is. Like it's very strict, and like Octane is a little bit like that. Like the abandoned cart trigger is like there's only one specific like setup that you can do for it and so on, but they do have more flexibility. Like for instance, you couldn't do a browse abandon. Like you can make custom flows for them. That's how I made the welcome flow, but you couldn't custom make a browse abandon because they just didn't have the trigger. But they did set that up recently. So it's a bit better. And then we usually send like order info, and that's actually a good way to get people to join Messenger, is when they place an order, they can just check a box that says like get their invoice in Messenger, and it just sends it to them. Pro tip, just pretty much match up what you're doing in email. Keep things consistent. So if you're throwing a deal out in the first email of a flow, throw the same deal out in the first email of the messenger. Like just keep it consistent so that people aren't like, well, I can get this from email and this from this, you know. But there are different strategies. So the good thing about Octane is when you sign up, they give you this like playbook that like breaks down flows for you, and like you probably don't want to follow it like word for word or like exactly, but it does have some good outlines to start with. Important with the welcome is to try and get emails. I think I've gotten 400 to 500 emails now from for Max Novelty just by doing that. And that's done with questions in Octane. And that should cover that. How do you get people to sign up to Messenger? Because your client or someone's going to ask you that. There's a lot of different ways you can do, and one of the good things about Octane is they just have it like super easy to set up any of the opt-in options. You can set up live chat if your people have dedicated live chat. If they do not, you can set up like a chat option that where if they have a customer service team but not like live chat, you can set it up so that they have the option to chat with someone, and it'll just like go to their DMs on Facebook, and then they like answer questions. Because as soon as they message you, they're basically in Messenger. And having that just little bubble on the site collects a lot of like people. On top of that, you don't have to, I don't think you have to set up a chat option though with that bubble. We do have it for Max, but I don't think you need to. You can just set it up so they click it and it pops up as like the menu, and you can choose what's on the menu. It's like, oh, do you want to like browse products, or do you want to do this or whatever, which is not bad. You can set up an exit intent pop-up. You can set up timed pop-ups. Octane has like templates for all this, which is nice. Not as much creativity to like set it up, but they do most of the work for you, which is great. And I think there's a few now, Optimonk and Just Uno, that are like integrating Messenger opt-ins with their email pop-up, which is nice. Where they just check a box and they get added to both. Which integrated pop-ups. And then there's integrated ads and giveaways, like what I was talking about with the Shine Armor flow. You can be like, hey, like your client can set up an ad on Facebook that's like, hey, do you want 15% off? Click yes, they get the discount in Messenger. Now they're in the Messenger database, on the list, whatever you want to call it. And then another thing you can do that we do sometimes is you can send people from email to Messenger. And I wanted to share a fun example that we did of that, that Michelle had me do for Shine Armor a way back, and that I've done with with Max now as well. So you can send them an email that's something like this, like cars or trucks, you know, like truck fans are gonna love that shit, right? They're gonna click that and fight with each other over it. And then you just say like, hey, we need your help. Choose a side. They get added to they click it, and it's a custom link that sends them to a Messenger flow, and they get it, and they choose whether they like car or truck, and it sends them to another one, and you can also send them a discount after that. You know, car lovers get 15% off, so you can also make a little bit of extra money off that. But like the engagement on that's pretty good. Like this one I was talking about, 556 people have received that message, and 85% of them have clicked it. Like that's pretty ridiculous. Like you ever see that on like an email? Like hell no. And so another example, we're doing this exact thing this week or next week with Max, and we're gonna do like they have good dog and cat painting collections. So we're gonna take Juan's suggestion and do dogs versus cats, and people are gonna go crazy over that one. So this is something we've actually put in the Shine Armor welcome flow as well. So people get this as part of the welcome flow, and it helps us collect people in Messenger and email. Finn, aka the question period. What did I miss?
Do you want to talk a bit about why we want people to send people from email to Messenger?
Well, for me, like Messenger almost fell over there. Messenger gets like way better engagement, and having people in Messenger and in email gives you the option to like send them different types of content and send them different like ways of convincing them to like buy your shit in the end. Do you want to elaborate on that?
No, that's what I would say, just to make sure everyone, like, the whole game of e-commerce is being everywhere until someone buys your stuff. Basically, that's what it comes down to. So like outside of email, our clients are already doing like ads on Facebook, ads on Instagram, ads on websites, ads everywhere. Like, I'm so sick of looking online and getting ads from our clients, but
Oh, so
basically, like, that's the game. Be in as many places as possible until you like they can't ignore you anymore and they buy your stuff. So just being on a different platform or as many platforms as possible is it's helpful.